Hello out there, fellow citizens. If you are ready, we're going to get started. It's 11:30 exactly. And we have got some serious things that we just need to talk about. So whilst we're getting started, please go ahead and share this video broadcast. If you can hear me loud and clear, let me know. Just type in that comments box loud and clear if you can hear me. If you can see me, let me know you can hear me. Let me know you can see me. We have got work to do. So can you, as you join, please share this broadcast with as many people as you can. Share it on your timeline, tag your friends. We really need to discuss some things that I think are going to be important for our future. As citizens, we just can't stand by and do nothing. So let me know. Am I loud and clear? Do you see the picture clearly? And do you see the picture clearly? I can see memory there says, we can see loud and clear. We see you. I think today is better. Yesterday we had a bit of a terrible picture and sound. So if you are just joining us, we've literally just gone on live. Share this video. Let me know if you can see it clearly. And what I was saying is that we just need to talk about some things that are important right now, because the truth is that time is running out. We must do something as citizens. We have to get involved. We can't just leave this to the military alone. We can't leave this to politicians. We can't leave it to SADC. So we want to talk some real business here, some real action. We are citizens, and here's the thing. I want you to understand something. Which I'm not Fananzi says this. We are. It's also we are just people. You know, I can see someone saying here, Pastor, the guy's got guns. No, we are not talking about going against them. This is what you need to understand. We are not going against the military. Okay. Remember something that's important. This military is ours. These are our soldiers. So we're not here to talk about going against the military. We want to talk about what citizens can do to contribute to the process. Like I said, time is running out. Decisions will be made for us, and we will have no one to blame but ourselves. So personally, I don't want to be in a position where I blame other people and say, well, they should have done this, they should have done that. Well, what did I do? What did you do? What did we do? What did we contribute? It's better to complain after we have put something on the table. So as citizens, we must do something. So I'm going to ask you one more time as we get ready to get started. I'm just switching off my phone here. I'm going to ask you to share this broadcast real quick. I'd love to see your comments. Someone said this time around, no fear. After I hear you, Thelma, thanks. Someone says, keep safe, Pastor. I can see that. Picture loud and clear. Someone says, we can hear, let's go. Good job. There's more people. Someone is joining from Scotland. Someone is joining from Bulawayo. Many people are joining. So keep sharing this thing. We've got to get started. But we want to really discuss this, a few ideas that are there. Plus, also, I want to bring you into perspective in terms of some of the things that are taking place right now. There's a big convergence that's taking place. The church, civic societies coming together. So many things are happening. So this is a great time right now. And we can move forward. Now, where we are right now, for those of you that don't know where we are right now, the military, the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, led by the commander of the Defense Forces, made an announcement. First of all, gave a speech a few days ago in response to the fightings that were happening within ZANU-PF. And then, of course, yesterday we woke up to the statement that the military read. I've got a copy here. And I just want us to pick a few things and then quickly decide, or at least quickly start to help each other as to which way that we can go as citizens. But the biggest thing that we have to understand is that this is our revolution. Citizens, fellow citizens of Zimbabwe, if you're waiting for another revolution to take place another time, you're missing it. This is the chance. Revolutions are not illegal as long as you do them according to the Constitution. And as citizens, we are able to stand up. We're able to contribute to what's going on, because remember, this is our future. That's happening here, as well. So here we go. So we started off with this statement that the army read out. I want to show you some key things that will give us ideas for some of the actions that we can do. Now, people are going to say a lot of things. They're going to say, people like Mawarire, you're being used by Mnangagwa, you're being used by the military. Please, that's just nonsense. A lot of people say a lot of rubbish. They've got no information and they want to discourage people. They want to discourage us from doing what we need to do. We are simple civilians. We are citizens of our nation, and we are deciding that we are no longer going to sit down and do nothing. So remember, again, everything that we are talking about here is according to our constitution, and that's one of the big things that you and I must make sure is not broken or lost, is our constitution. Okay, someone says in Botswana there's SADC and so forth happening. We're going to be talking about that SADC thing happening. Someone says no blame game. We want the rebuilding game. Excellent. I love that that phrase. No blame game. We want the building game. Someone says, I urge you to stay out of this. I urge you instead. In fact, this is Keith Tower says, I urge you to stay out of this, please. Keith, I actually want to urge you to get into this. There is no other time. No one decides for you. You're a grown up, okay? You grow up and take responsibility for your life and take responsibility for this nation, and stop telling citizens to stay out of things that they should actually be in. So this is what the military read out yesterday. I won't read the whole thing, but they addressed the civil servants. They addressed the judiciary. They addressed members of parliament. They addressed the Zimbabwean citizens. And this is what they said. They said, we are targeting criminals around the president who are committing crimes that are causing social and economic suffering in the country in order to bring them to justice. Agreed. The thing that citizens want is that our constitution must be upheld. Okay, so I mean, I won't lie to you. I'm sitting here as a citizen. I have been a victim of this system, particularly some of these people that are being arrested. I've been a victim of them. So to have them brought to justice for me is something that I want. And for many people that have been abused, and some of you don't know that you've been abused by these people. Your freedoms have been abused by some of these people. So them being brought to justice is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But what the military must not do is that they must not violate our constitution as we go ahead. And then this is something that the military then said in their statement yesterday. They said, our wish, listen to this, our wish is that you will enjoy your rights and freedoms. Our wish, that is the wish of this military. That's what they said in their own statement. Our wish is that you enjoy your rights and freedoms. So that means that every right that we have in our constitution, our military is saying it's time for you and me to enjoy those particular rights. And we want to take them up on that challenge, because we don't play with our rights. In the same way that they don't play with the mandate of protecting their revolution, as they said, we also don't want to be playing with this issue of our rights. So I want you to hold on to that, because there is a key action that I want us to talk about and want us to spread and want us to get a lot of people excited about here in Zimbabwe. So they say, our wish is that you will enjoy your rights and freedoms, and that we return our country to a dispensation that follows, that allows investment, development, and prosperity that we all fought for, and for which many of our citizens paid the supreme price. So we agreed on that. We want these rights that these people fought for. Then the final comment that the military makes in their statement. Now remember, the reason I'm doing this live today is because time, guys, okay, and every citizen, as many of us, have to be on board. And this is what they said. To all churches and religious organizations in Zimbabwe, we call upon your congregations to pray for our country and preach the gospel of love, peace, and unity and development. I want you to keep that in mind, because that's another action. That's another door right there that we can actually utilize to be able to take our country where it needs to go. Remember, this idea of a new Zimbabwe is not somewhere in some general's mind or in SADC's mind. No, it's in your mind. It's in your heart. Where are the citizens? Look, the military has made a move. What is our move going to be? If we leave them alone, then they'll do things that you're going to complain about. Then we're going to complain after they do things that we don't want them to do. So they've made the first move. The military made the first move a few days ago. What is our move going to be? And remember, this is all constitutional. We're staying within our constitution. We don't want lawlessness. But so what is our move going to be? Already they've given us two themselves in their own document. Number one, they've said, we want you to enjoy all your freedoms and your rights. They are doing the apprehending and the detaining of people that they feel need to be brought to justice. And again, we want the law to take its course with those particular people. They must have their day in court, like I and you have had your day in court as well. So they've given us two. Now, the churches yesterday, this is where it gets exciting, Zimbabweans. There is a convergence taking place. Okay? A lot of people can't see this, but there is a convergence taking place. People are now uniting. Yesterday, when I issued a statement, and I'm so glad to see that the different organizations are beginning to come together. So the church yesterday, which is under the umbrella of the Zimbabwe Heads of Christian Denominations. Now, the Zimbabwe Heads of Christian Denominations, please catch this, very important, is the Zimbabwe Council of Churches, which is your mainline traditional churches, Vana Anglican, Vana Methodist, Vana Lutheran, Orthodox churches. They are all under the Zimbabwe Council of Churches, Vana Salvation Army. Big churches, amazing churches. I think, they've been in the country for years. The Evangelical Fellowship of Zimbabwe, all your evangelical churches, my Pentecostals, they are under the Evangelical Fellowship of Zimbabwe. That's millions of people between the Zimbabwe Council of Churches and the Evangelical Fellowship of Zimbabwe. Then there is the Zimbabwe Catholic Bishops Conference. Now, this is the Catholic movement in Zimbabwe. It is a traditional movement, has been here for years, millions of people across the country. They are also part of this statement. Then Uda Caesar. Uda Caesar oversees most of your apostolic sects. Some of them are not part of it, but many of the apostolic sects are part of Uda Caesar. These people, the heads of these churches, so this is, I would dare to say this is they're representing over 5, 6, 7 million people in this country, issued a statement, Nezuro. We must take advantage of what they have said in here. The Zimbabwe Heads of Christian Denominations have called, number one, for a moment of truth in our nation. And they've called for a number of things that they have said. Now, I want you to listen to what they are saying. Please stay with me. Don't leave. This is very, very important. And I won't be long. I'm just doing this for 30 minutes and then we are done. The heads of Christian denominations in Zimbabwe, this is about Fundisi Vese. It's not leaving out Kana one. Every single pastor and bishop and church leader is represented in this statement that the Zimbabwe Heads of Christian Denominations issued, Nezuro. They say this in part of their statement. We see the current situation not just as a crisis in which we are helpless. We see the current arrangement as an opportunity for the birth of a new nation. This is the church. Yesterday, I challenged the church and I said, you let us down. And I believe the church they're now waking up. This is it. And this is not just a crisis, but it is an opportunity for the birth of a new nation. And again, it's constitutional. They talk in their document, again, a little bit later. If you want this document, it's there online, the Zimbabwe Heads of Christian Denominations statement on Zimbabwe. They also now put in a call for prayer for our nation. Remember who also called for prayer? The military also called for prayer. They said pray. So the church is also calling for prayer. So already the church and the military are converging. So who we run. And we want to make a demand. I want to ask our pastors and leaders, some of them are my mentors and my fathers. I want to ask them, if you can today, go to the military offices, go to Defense House and ask them, can we make a gathering of prayer by Saturday? By Saturday, can we get a gathering of people to pray? Now, they also asked for calm and peace. They also asked in the statement of the churches, they've also asked here for a respect for human dignity. And then they've also asked, now this is very, very important. The churches have come up and they've said, we are calling for a transitional government of national unity. A transitional government of national unity. This is the beautiful thing about what's happening. Zimbabweans realize that we don't want a coup. We don't want a war. But what we want is a transitional government. And it's an inclusive transitional government. In other words, government, it's not just ZANU people that are going to be in this government. It's going to be people from outside ZANU, people from the opposition, because if we can't have the full change that we want, we must have some level of change. Citizens, I'm telling you right now, if we miss this opportunity, it's also we don't know a lot, but what we know is that we want a Zimbabwe that works, one that's better than this one. Stay with me. The churches then also say we're also calling for national dialogue. And then they end at the end of their statement and they say, we use this as an opportunity for us to find one another, to build something that is permanently healing for our nation. Let me just say something about prayer right there. As the Zimbabwe Heads of Christian Denominations have called for prayer, today it's 11:45. At lunchtime at 1 p.m., there are thousands of Christians that are going to be praying right across this nation. If you want to join that prayer at 1 o'clock, I'm asking you to spend just 1 minute, from 1 o'clock to 1 past 1. Okay, that's what's happening. We've already organized in offices, on the street, everywhere. There are hundreds of thousands of people that are going to be praying. They're taking 1 minute to pray for the transition of Zimbabwe. Remember my point. We are praying for the transition of Zimbabwe. At 1 o'clock today, we're asking for 1 minute. If you're on Twitter, on Facebook, could you please tweet that right now or put that on Facebook right now and say, prayer for Zimbabwe, 1 minute at 1 o'clock. Prayer for Zimbabwe, 1 minute at 1 o'clock all across the world. So today, my office menu, if you are out having lunch, if you're going to go for lunch, your lunch is still there. We're asking you for 1 minute. 1 minute at 1 o'clock. Prayer for Zimbabwe transition. This is in response to what the Zimbabwe heads of Christian denominations have asked for. It's in response to what the military has asked for. They've asked us for prayer. Remember, people have said to me, well, our flags, they were taken from us. It's illegal. It's not illegal to have your flag. If you want to take your flag out again, take it out again. And let's pray. 1 o'clock, 1 minute. Prayer for Zimbabwe. Please tweet that and just let's go crazy. We're going to continue this action for the next couple of days at 1 o'clock every single day for 1 minute, whether you are on your own or whether you are with someone else. Now, the final statement that's here comes from the Civic Societies Organization. And in this statement, the Civic Society Organization, these are all your NGOs, your community organizations, your residents' trusts, your all the youth organizations, all the advocacy groups. They all came up with a statement. And they are, how many of them are there on this list? There are at least 115 organizations that have come up with this joint statement. And I want you to hear again what they are saying. This is why I'm saying this is an exciting time. So this afternoon, I'm told SADC is meeting in Botswana. You and me have to understand something. The destiny of our country is not in SADC's hands. Okay? Don't let SADC be the ones that decide. They must follow what we want. This is what the civic society organizations in Zimbabwe largely are asking for. So they've said the political transition in Zimbabwe must be guided by the constitution. Remember who said that? It was the army said that, and the churches said that. And now the civic society organizations are saying exactly the same thing. So we are coming together. Don't let anyone lie to you that we are divided and no one knows what's going on. We are not trying to find out what's going on right now. Let me tell you something. Here's the biggest mistake people are sometimes getting involved in. They're trying to find out, Kuti, what has the military said? What has the general said? No, what is our position? The people are trying to find out what has SADC said. No, we have to develop a position of ourselves as well in the meantime, so that they have to deal and respond with our position as well. It's a constitutional position and a position that's pushing for a democratic nation going forward. So the civil society organizations have asked and they have said, hey, let us have a process that is guided by our constitution. And then they say this: we believe that the solution to Zimbabwe's socio-economic and political problems should be a product of an inclusive stakeholder process. So already this is sounding exactly like what the churches said. The churches have asked for an inclusive government. They've said, no, it's time to build a different type of government. Whether we mix it up, and I'm just going to say it, right now we don't know whether is it Mnangagwa that's going to take over, is it someone else? We just hear rumors. If it is Mnangagwa, whoever it is, that person or those people are going to have to work with other people that are not from ZANU-PF. They are going to have to work with other people that have not been in this regime before. That has to be part of it. But if you, the citizens, don't demand it, it won't be done. Do you understand this? The reason Zimbabwe finds itself where it is because you and me, over the last 37 years, we stopped talking, we stopped showing up, we stopped speaking up, and we just became spectators. And so this is what the civic society organizations are asking for. They also ask for, they say, in pursuit of our rights and obligations to the constitution as citizens, we urge the people of Zimbabwe to remain peaceful and freely contribute to their preferred way forward and solution to the current crisis. So again, we are pushing for our freedom of rights. Again, it is what the army promised us in their own document. They said that their desire is for us to enjoy our full freedoms. Remember that? Let me just read that. This is what the army said. Our wish is that you will enjoy your rights and freedoms, and that we return our country to a dispensation that allows for investment, development, and prosperity that we all fought for which many of our citizens paid the supreme sacrifice. We must take them up on this word. Why can't we go? I've got a crazy idea. In a few minutes, we're going to close this broadcast. But after reading these 3 statements, fellow citizens, I am not the owner of the movement, Takawanda. I'm not the owner of Citizen Action, Takawanda. There are many people doing different things in different places. All we need to do now is to find each other. But remember what I said, our time is running out. We've got to make sure that we make representation and that we are heard and that our voice is there at this table of discussion. In Botswana today, SADC will sit. It is highly likely that the government in Zimbabwe and the military will do what SADC says. I didn't say they will, I said it's highly likely. Shall we let them do it without our voice? No, we can't do that. We just can't do that. All right? We must speak up. We must speak up. So today at 1 o'clock, 1 minute at 1 o'clock, we're going to pray. Please, if you are in your offices, if like I said, if you're on Twitter, if you've got a Facebook group, can you go on the Facebook group now and tell them at 1 o'clock for 1 minute, we are going to be praying for the transition of Zimbabwe. Because now as citizens, we are no longer in any doubt as to where we are going. This is time for change. Please, guys, stop sitting back and saying, let's let them do it, or we don't know what this is about, or we wonder where it's going to go. No, we know what we want. What we want is a different Zimbabwe from this one. So this, mark my word, this is transition time. 1 o'clock for 1 minute. 1 o'clock for 1 minute. Wherever you are, whether muri panza, whether muri mo office, please. Guys, this is not a joke. We're not just doing this because we've got nothing else to do. We realize the opportunity that we have. So at 1 o'clock for 1 minute, in your office, in the restaurant, in your car, if you're driving, send a message and say for 1 minute at 1 o'clock, the whole country is praying for transition. Now 1 o'clock for 1 minute, tichange tichinamatira kushanduka kwenyika yedu yangu bashanduka. 1 o'clock 1 minute, munhu wese nyika yese achange achinamatira nyika yake. We're going to do that today, we're going to do that tomorrow Friday, and we will do that on Saturday. If by the churches haven't called for a prayer meeting on Saturday, we will still do it. My hope is that the Zimbabwe heads of Christian denominations, after issuing this great document, are going to push for a national day of prayer immediately. Let's do it very quickly. But for today and tomorrow, 1 o'clock, 1 minute, we are praying for the transition of Zimbabwe. Let's do it together. Now, we are praying that God hears us, but we are praying so that we all see each other praying and doing something together. Now, here's a crazy idea that I've got, and I'm going to close with this before I take some questions or I read some comments. The citizens of Zimbabwe are starting to lose hope because now we don't know what's going on. But how about if we did this? And I know some people will say, listen, this is a crazy idea. You're going to cause trouble. You're going to cause problems. What problems don't we have? You tell me, what trouble don't we have? I've got a crazy idea that I think we should pursue. And what's the worst that could happen is that they could say no. I would like us, in addition to spending our 1 minute at 1 o'clock every day, between today and tomorrow, and hopefully on Saturday and going forward, how about if we approached our military and we said we would like to have a citizens' solidarity march? You know, the one thing our government has not been able to, has not allowed us to do. They haven't allowed us to march peacefully. We've always been beaten. We are always asked to get a license, but the Constitution says we can do it. I'm thinking that we can gather hundreds of thousands of citizens together with our military. We ask our military to accompany us, to march together as we declare peace for Zimbabwe, as we declare a new transition for Zimbabwe. And then they can make their decisions which way we're going to go. But we have to make our voice known. So this is a suggestion I have. I mean, I know that, like I said, it's a decision, or it's a suggestion that may be full of a lot of mistakes, as some people may want to think, but this is where citizens, guys, Nzarayati room. We've been hungry for years. We don't have the time to sit down and to be afraid and so forth. We've been jailed. We've been beaten. We've had our money taken from us. You go to town right now as I speak. Get into Harare, get into Bulawayo, get into Kweku, get into Chinwe, into Karoi. You're going to see old people that are queuing at banks to try and get their money. And yet there were ministers in this country that had millions of dollars in their own houses. When was the last time you saw a cabinet minister standing in a bank queue? When? That's an injustice, that. So I'm suggesting two things here today. We are going to be in a prayer mode in response to the Zimbabwe heads of Christian denominations, in response to the church's call for prayer. 1 o'clock, 1 minute, we're going to pray. In response to the military as well, we are going to be praying, because it was the military who said, please pray. So we want to pray. In response to the military as well, we say that our wish is for you to enjoy your rights. We want our rights, the freedom of assembly, the freedom of speech. So we've got an idea that in addition to prayer, we want to see if we can approach the military to say, can you please oversee a citizens' solidarity march where everyone can come together and we can begin to declare our peace and declare our transition going forward. It's no violence, and they will oversee, the military will be with us, so we won't have any, because we must restore hope. We must listen. I don't care what anyone thinks, okay? Whether people, again, I told you before, whether people think that Mawarire is a Mnangagwa or what, or is a this, I don't care what you think. I'm a Zimbabwean, I'm a citizen of this country, and I'm not going to sit back and do nothing. I'm going to use my voice. I'm going to use what I can do to try and get this country to go where it needs to go. And I don't want anything in return on top of that, okay? So that's what I'm about. I'm just done. I'm 40 years old. I don't have another life to live. This is the only one that I have, is the only one that you have. Okay, so constitutionally, we want to start exercising those rights now, not tomorrow, not when a new government comes. No, right now, because our constitution has not been suspended. Our constitution is in action right now. Fellow citizens, it's been good. But after today, we may not have these chances. These things we're talking about, we may not be able to talk about them and to do them. We've got to do them issues now. This is the time for us to do it. I'm trying to look for some questions or some comments that may be on the broadcast here. Can't see any. I think we've got quite a lot that's coming here. Someone says, I would suggest that we be careful. Yes, I'm with you. I suggest that we be careful as well. In fact, if there's a way, and I know we will try and find a way to go, even whether we're going to go to Defense House or wherever, to go and ask for this permission. But we must do it. We haven't done anything wrong. We haven't done anything wrong. Our military has stepped up. They've made a move. Whether you think the move is wrong or not, you still need to have a response. What is your response to the move that the military has made? We have two responses here. In fact, there's three responses here today. So I'm going to give you the three responses as we come to the close of this broadcast. The three responses: we are calling citizens, number one, to make sure that peace and our constitution is upheld. We don't joke with that. We're not joking with that. Peace and our constitution, which is the rule of law, continues to be upheld. Number two, we're calling people to pray as the military has asked and as the churches have responded and asked. We're calling you to pray 1 o'clock for 1 minute today and tomorrow and maybe even Saturday. 1 o'clock for 1 minute all across this country. Please tweet that. Please Facebook that to your friends and say at 1 o'clock for 1 minute, we are all praying. Don't sit back and do nothing. If you are afraid to speak up, at least don't be afraid to pray for 1 minute. At 1 o'clock, you and your friend, you by yourself, wherever you are. The third thing that we have put on the table here is that maybe we want to approach the military to see if they can allow a citizens' solidarity march that says we want a transitional government, that says we want peace, that says we want to go to the next level. Those three things I've put on the table for you. Fellow citizens, we've been talking now for about 28 minutes. I know there's a lot of people that have just been joining the broadcast and talking. I can't see some of the comments here. Where are we? A lot of people have joined. So, and someone here says, sounds like a good idea to ask the military for the citizens' march because people are drained of hope. And that's exactly it. Action, but action here noise. People don't want action of a war. People don't want action of destroying property. We have to send a message. When will SADC know that Zimbabweans are? Do you remember the last time? Let me ask you a question. Do you remember the last time that SADC made a decision for you and me? Do you remember what they did? They didn't speak for us. They spoke for the government. They saved a government and didn't save the citizens. Okay? And that was after a constitutional process. And they still went ahead and saved the government. Here we are today. We want them to take us seriously. We want this region to take us seriously. Zimbabweans want change in their country. We don't want to be ashamed. See, some of these other countries, the reason why they want us to remain the same is because they are milking us. They are living off us. They live off our people. They take the best of our people and employ them. We have to go and buy food and things from their countries and bring them back here. We have to import goods and services through their country. So it does well for them. But anyway, I've given you 3 things here this afternoon. I'm going to rehash them. Number 1, the one thing that we want is for our constitution to work and our constitution to be respected. No war, no violence. Number 2, prayer. We are going to pray. The military asked us to pray. The churches have responded and they're calling people to pray. And so 1 o'clock for 1 minute today, 1 o'clock for 1 minute today, we pray wherever you are. All of us are going to do this. And the third thing is we are going to be bold enough to approach our military and ask them that we may march in solidarity with them for peace and for the transition that Zimbabwe deserves. Pastor E here. Thanks for joining me. That's all I can do for now. I've tried, my friends. I've pushed hard. And now we must all do it together. Without that, I don't know what to read. Without that, we're not going anywhere. Until we are prepared to be Zimbabweans, we're not prepared for change. To be Zimbabwean means doing one of those 3 things. Stand for your constitution, no violence, pray, and then come out. Let's stand together. Let's put hope back in each other again. This has been Pastor Evan Mawarire here on behalf of this Flag Citizens Movement, which has a lot of members right across the world, in our country as well, thousands of people. Thanks for joining me on this broadcast. And all I can say is God bless you and God be with us. Watch out for more conversations and for more of our broadcasts as we go through this transition period. God bless. Pastor E here signing out. Bye-bye.